Hello guys, welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to do an unusual challenge. Today, I'm going to be flying an airplane using visual cameras from Kola Airport to the Kerbal Space Center. Here, I'm flying a Boeing 737-100 using two cameras. As you can see, I'm currently using the tilt fin camera, and here I'm using the front nose camera. The reason I have two cameras here is one, the tilt fin camera is so I know what's happening in the airplane exterior, and the nose camera is how I know how I'm going to land very accurately. Well, it's more like a visual camera where I can see what's directly in front of me, so it's easier to do some tasks that require visual task. And here, I'm using the tilt fin camera. Oh, I forgot to retract the landing gear. There we go. As you can see here, there are some challenges when only using cameras. I can only see the altitude, the vertical speed, the nav ball, and some orientational indicators, but I cannot see the speed unless I turn my camera to the side where the speed there is. So here I'm trying to turn towards the Kerbal Space Program Airport, which is really quite the challenge if you want to try to. But what's more difficult will be trying to line up for landing, and as you can see here, my airplane is doing some weird things because I just don't know, and I am not used to this kind of experience. And yes, this is the first time I'm doing this kind of thing. So I went back, I looked at the airport, and I know what to do. I tried to line up for landing here. As you can see, I am setting my tilt fin camera locked to the runway so I can know whether I'm lined up for the runway or not. As you can see, the runway is slightly, well, offline. Not offline, but offline. Well, off course, you can see. So I have to go left so I can line up with the runway. As you can see, things are pretty normal here. But as I begin to get closer and closer to the runway, I'll know I have to work harder. Unfortunately, me in this recording isn't very aware of that. So it's gonna be quite a challenge. Soon, things started to get intense. I lined up for the runway. The runway is getting closer and closer. The runway is getting closer, and my most challenging part is yet to come. You might be also noticing, why is there an antenna at the top of the camera? This is usually used as an oriental guidance, so I can know whether my plane is pointing up or really it's just pointing sideways, even though I already have two other indicators whether my plane is pointing up or it's just going sideways. So you can see my landing here is starting to get low. I started to cut back on my throttle and deploy the first round of flaps to slow down my speed. At this point, I may have also engaged my landing gear, which is kind of late to be honest. Soon I started to get too low for the approach, so I would have to climb up. Soon, I just started to use the tilt fin camera and realized it's actually kind of easier that way to know what the plane's pointing at visually instead of instrumentally. Soon, I started to climb a lot and then soon climbed back down again for the landing. So you can see the runway is quite getting really close here. Soon, I struggled to keep my airplane in balance for the landing. I have to keep my plane very still and steady, and it's quite actually difficult to, even though I have SAS. Soon, I'm starting to get close, and I almost hit the front lighting indicators, And then at this point, I started cutting back on throttle and bam! I hadn't landed at this part, but at this point the camera was locking too much. So I hit on the brakes and slowed down. As you can see, I have successfully landed. And so, the hard part's over. And now, I can now fully well know that I just flew a Boeing 737 from Kola Airport to the Kerbal Space Center. However, this might not be the end, as long as my viewers suggest a much longer flight using only cameras, which can be a struggle. As you can see, the nose camera is at the front of the airplane, and you can see the tailfin camera at the tailfin or the back. Well, that's it for this video. I would like to see you guys in another video, and if you would like, you can just suggest me going from one side of the curve into another, a much longer video about this airplane using only cameras. I'd like to see you guys in the next video. Bye.